How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. It ended in a 2-2 draw, people. You know what I'm talking about, the North London derby. And the boys are back in the building. Big up Jordan, big up Lee, and big up James. Time of recording, Sunday night. It's just past 11 p.m. BST. So, yeah, the result and performance is still very much fresh in our minds, fresh in our memories. And we're probably best placed to discuss it now. Unfortunate North London derby. I mean, James, me and you done the watch along. Lee, I've heard a bit of your thoughts. Jordan, I haven't heard anything yet. So let me ask a question first and foremost. When the lineup came out, Jordan, what did you think?
I was okay. I was actually okay. I know there's been some Arsenal fans that have said that they weren't happy with it. I'm really keen to hear what James, yourself, and Lee felt about it. But I personally didn't have a problem with it. We discussed in the last pod that we expected Raya to start, and I floated the fact that it wouldn't surprise me if Ramsdale was put back in. But I think that's categoric. There's no debate now. Ramsdale's the number one. He's the number one. I think at any time that Raya's the number one. And any time Ramsdale comes in, it will be to give Raya a rest or this tactical thing, which I was buying from Arteta. I totally swallowed the Kool-Aid. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's rubbish. It's rubbish.
He lied to us.
He was. So I think that's the third thing. 3 games in a row, 3 different competitions. Well, 2 different competitions. Raya's our number one. The other selection which interested me was Vieira, because I said as well I wanted Jorginho to start. I'm not a massive Vieira fan. I'm not. I think he's okay, but I'm not a huge fan. I just thought that ball retention would have been preferable, which I think Jorginho offers you. But I wasn't angry at that selection, but it wouldn't have been my pick. And then the third one was Jesus wide and then Nketiah through the middle, which again I was okay with because Nketiah's a striker. And I think that Jesus did his best work, in my opinion, at Manchester City wide. He had plenty of times through the middle, Manchester City. He never really convinced, in my opinion. And part of the reason why I think Pep Guardiola let Jesus go was because through the middle, Jesus for him was okay. Wasn't great, wasn't prolific. Scored quite a few goals, but he wasn't going to win you a Champions League. So seeing him wide, I thought, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's where I think Jesus is also strong. So I'm up for seeing that. So I didn't personally have any massive issues with the starting lineup.
Lee, I know you felt similar to me when you saw the lineup. Maybe more so disappointed with what you saw in the starting 11. What did you make of it when it came out? Is it the Raya thing first and foremost, or was it the Eddie starting up? Okay.
No, that didn't bother me. Bothers me after the game, and it bothers me that people like Jordan now saying that he's a number one. I don't know how people can say that after that performance, but we're going to that later on. Just deflated.
I think we mean it's Arteta. I think we mean Arteta's decided.
Yeah, it's Arteta's decision.
Not that we've decided.
You know, he's you know, like he wants to have a look at himself now because he's costing us games now with his decisions. Simple as that. Not the first time this season that I've been deflated with his team selection, the diabolical decisions with Party at right back. But this one now takes the biscuit for me. I was deflated before the game, didn't enjoy the game, went to the game worried, didn't enjoy the game. For 100 minutes, it weren't for me. Totally different. When we scored the second goal, I didn't really go mad about it because I knew it weren't over with. Just totally deflated by a manager's decision.
Which one, Lee?
Which one, Lee? I'll tell you the decision. You've got Martinelli out, you've got Trossard out, right? Which was a big blow to lose Trossard, which I didn't expect, but we lost him, like, you know. Then you play Jesus, is your main man in the central area, and you put him out wide left, right? For Eddie, how many more chances is Eddie going to have before you say enough's enough when I see other players not getting as many chances? But that's another story. We've played well once this season out of all the games where I'm thinking, wow, we're looking really, really good. That was against PSV on Wednesday night. Who was playing up front and who was playing down the middle? Jesus. He makes things happen in that area there. We was toothless up front today. did not look like scoring, hardly at all. We get a deflected goal, which was okay. Don't not worry about that. Jesus then misses what it has to be said is the absolute awful chance. So I'm not blaming Arteta for that, but for me to put your striker. Now I'll ask you this, and I don't care what would Pep put Haaland wide left?
Never.
Would he do it? Why wouldn't he do it? Because he's his best striker, best central striker that he's got in the team. So if you're losing your left-hand side, why on earth would you take your best player from central to put him out there when you've got options like Smith Rowe, by the way, I do think is a wide left player and has played wide left. He's got Nelson, who's a wide left player, and that. I wasn't surprised that Ramsdale didn't come running on there and playing there, like, you know what I mean? Square pegs, round holes. Why is he doing it? Why is he doing it? Why is he consider? And this is what people tell me, that this man's ruthless. Why has he done that? He could have put Vieira out there. He could have played Havertz up front if he thinks that's the best option to do if he's going to put Jesus there, because he'd done it against Manchester City in a big game in the Community Shield. So put Eddie there, and then you've got to now make it work. He did not contribute in that game whatsoever from an attacking point of view. And our attacking play broke down time and time again, like it has done for most of this season when Jesus has not been in the middle. And I just don't understand it. And I'm fuming. I'm absolutely fuming because we needed to make a statement against them today. 10 minutes from the end, guys, I every time they went forward, I don't know if I'm watching a different game. It looked like I was bricking it. And at the end, with 5 minutes to go, I'm just saying, get me out of this stadium with a point. And I'm sorry, at home and you're going for titles and things like that, that ain't good enough. Spurs today were a very, very good team. I think we played right into their hands today. And I know injuries make a big thing, losing Declan Rice and losing I thought until I see it today that Vieira got injured as well, but that was tactical. Can someone tell me what was tactical about that? We lost the complete shape of midfield.
Can I jump in? I know a lot of people watching this podcast because I see some of the comments, right? And I saw it on the live show as well on full time. People going, how are you all going for Nketiah when Jesus missed the big chances and Jorginho gave the ball away and Saka defended poorly? And they're going to wonder why we're looking at Eddie Nketiah. But what we're doing is we're looking at the bigger picture of Arsenal's performances. Some of those other moments, like Jorginho giving the ball away, Saka not defending Maddison right. I think we all accept that Arsenal could have conceded 2 goals today, and we still think they should have won the game. I'm not saying off today's performance. I'm saying going into it, we should have had enough to score 3 or 4 today. Now, I rarely do this because I normally do my tactical insight research the morning after. I like to sleep on it and then wake up with fresh ideas. But with the late turnaround and all that, I sort of did my prep tonight. And I want to read some numbers. You're going to have to follow me here, but I think it backs what we're saying about Eddie Nketiah. I've compared Jesus in last year's derby at home to Nketiah's performance today. Last year, Jesus in the home derby, in which he scored, by the way, received 33 passes. Nketiah received 12 today. So 12 times he got the ball. Now, passes received from our number 8s. So that's Vieira, Havertz, Ødegaard floating. Last year was Ødegaard, Xhaka. Jesus received the ball 8 times from our attacking midfielders last season. Would you like to venture a guess how many times Nketiah received the ball from our 8s?
2.
3.
1.
Lee, you're spot on. Give him a point on the board. 1. So once. So we have these attacking creative 8s that are told to get forward, and we leave. And Jorginho was poor on the goal, yeah, but make no mistake about it, he was left exposed that whole midfield as well. And Declan Rice was 2 in the first half. So they're meant to get forward and support, but they're combining with Eddie Nketiah once. And then I've got some other stuff on our total play. It's all on tactical insight that you'll see later today at the time of recording this podcast the night before. But anyway, my point is, Eddie Nketiah, unlike Jesus last year in the derby, and by the way, you could say it's a harder job for Jesus because Tottenham were a lot deeper, a lot more defensive. They had 3 centre-backs and 2 holding midfielders and all that. Eddie Nketiah simply does not contribute to build-up. Now, he is meant to be a poacher. He's meant to be someone who sniffs chances. Now, if we don't create chances for him, I'm not expecting to get on the end of them. But then Arsenal and Arteta need to look at, well, if our striker is there to combine and drop into midfield and create a diamond and help us take control of games, is Eddie Nketiah doing enough of that? And for me, he's not. And in this game, we saw once again that when he led the line, the fluidity was lacking. Last week against Everton, I thought we were good in spite of his performance. We did well and dominated despite Eddie not having a great game, and we mentioned it then. So it's not hindsight. It's not because we've had one bad result with somebody talking about it. We said it last week as well, and Jesus showed us what he can do up top against PSV. That's why I think one of the worst things Arteta got wrong. Not so much the 11. He got that wrong, but, you know, he tried something. But the fact that he saw Jesus coming off as a solution to improve our performance, I thought was a howler from Mikel Arteta.
Sorry, Joe.
Go on.
I'm not having a go at Eddie when I say this. It's nothing to do with Eddie's performances as a person, all that. It's just that Jesus is the better option in that area, and you're losing Martinelli, and you're also losing Trossard. You know, you could have put Eddie out there wide left. You know what I mean? It was
but you couldn't, Lee. You couldn't. I think you conflated two issues. I think you conflated Eddie Nketiah's poor position through the middle with the selection of Jesus on the left. As I said at the start, Jesus on the left, for Man City, that's where he was best. That's where, for Brazil, that's where he's best.
Down the middle, all of his time.
I understand that, but I think the first thing is to make the point that Jesus on the left is an incorrect selection. For me, that's not true. We can discuss whether we would have done that ourselves or not, but it's not like he's put Jesus as a holding midfielder.
This is my point. Who is our best forward in the?
That's my next point. That's my next point. So my next point is then I'm hearing again. I listen
out first before the second one.
Hang on a minute. I've listened to Arsenal fans tonight on the radio phone-ins making a similar point to what you're making, and the kind of vibe I'm getting here is, Lee, is that we're talking. I like Jesus. We all love Jesus. We all wax lyrical about him. He's a pleasure to watch. Technically gifted, skillful. He's a problem on the ball. Great movement, great presser, amazing. But let's not pretend like there's levels between Nketiah and Jesus in terms of as a striking threat, because there's not. There really isn't. And I would argue as a straight finisher, as an out-and-out finisher, I think Nketiah's better.
I agree. So he brings something different to the team, Jordan.
I agree. But the point the point I'm making is this idea that if you'd have put Jesus through the middle, he's significantly better, I think is wrong. The best chance of the game fell to him, and he missed us. It's a sitter. It's a sitter.
You said to say Jesus would have started up front, he'd be considerably better. There's an argument there, and you're right. But starting Jesus up front, we are considerably better. And there's no argument there. And that's why I'm glad that James brought up the numbers, because I'm not a numbers guy. I don't care too much about XG, stats, and passes in from the 8 and all that. But it sounds like from what James said, that the numbers test, Eddie's not passed. The eye test, Eddie doesn't pass. And by this, I mean, I'll reiterate what Lee said. This is not, it's never anything. I don't know none of these players personally. So it's never personal. It's never an agenda. And I'm not a hater of any football player that plays for Arsenal. But what it is I said it in my interview, my fan cam. When we play Eddie, we create far less chances and we're far less fluid than when we play Jesus. You're right. Jesus is not a clinical striker, but Jesus up front brings more chances for our left and right wingers. Now, that's the problem I'm having with it, because Emile Smith-Rowe or Reece Nelson on the left and Jesus up top, I think we win the game. I got a United supporting friend that messaged me saying you was a bit harsh in your fan cam. Tottenham they're a good side. They've started the season well. And he said, I don't think Nelson starting ahead of Eddie would have made much difference. I honestly believe if we started Jesus up top and Reece or ESR on the left, we win that game comfortably.
Yeah, and I
don't know if you can put ESR and them in cold like that. I know Smith-Rowe played in the week; he got 15 minutes, but I just don't know if you can throw Emile Smith-Rowe or Nelson into a North London derby cold from the start.
ESR made his name at Arsenal being thrown in against Chelsea in one of our worst periods of any manager, and he took it on board.
Turkish, I'm going to be really honest. I would not have had a problem if Eddie was playing out there. It's nothing about the goal scoring side of it. I watched a game against PSV, right? I've watched 6 games this season, right? The one game was against PSV. They're not a poor side, by the way. 26 games unbeaten before they played us, right? We were 3-0 up at half-time, creating goals left, right and centre, right? Now, today, we never look like scoring because you've got your best player that does all that little inter-trick work and brings all players into play. It doesn't. It breaks down on Eddie. I'm sorry, but it breaks down on him, like, you know what I mean? And that is the problem that you got. And we never look like score. I'm watching that game today, and we never look like score. I've seen game 3 days earlier, and we looked like we was going to rip a team open every single time. And to me, I want to ask the question. You know, this is a man that's supposed to be ruthless. Why are you putting players that are not played there? Now, I don't care what anybody says about Jesus. Yes, he might have played there for Manchester City, right? He must, and he has done on the. I have not seen him play. I can't remember the last time I've seen Jesus start a game as a wide left player. I've not seen. If I'm not wrong here, or did I hear something today?
I don't think he has. I don't think he has.
First time. Is that the first time they've ever started together?
I think
he does it in a North London derby, this bloke. He's doing it in. But Lee,
I'd be more with you. I'd be more with you, Lee, if he did that and Trossard and Martinelli were fit. If they were both fit and he put Jesus left, I'd be with you. But the mere fact you're first.
Listen, 100%, Jordan. That's my argument here. If Trossard or Martinelli's fit, it's Jesus goes down the middle. So when you weaken it, why do it again?
And on top of that, can I ask Jordan, because I know you want to say something now, but why? And this is going to kind of segue. I'm not trying to segue it, but I'm segueing into another area where I think this problem could have been erased. Why did we give Reece Nelson a new contract if 2 of our wingers are going to be injured? Yeah. And the decision is to move a striker down to the. Why give him the? You know why?
I agree.
It's nice. Yeah. It's Arsenal. It's Haaland.
And Smith Rowe. You bring him into it and all.
I
Turkish. Smith Rowe plays there, right? But why have you bringing in a forward to play there? Like, you know what I mean? Why? But when it comes to the goalkeepers and other positions, you're ruthless. And I'm not being horrible. This isn't the first time this bloke's doing it. He's putting Partey in at right back when we've got right backs.
I think I said in my fan account, I think Arteta had a tactical howler in this. And actually, the starting Eddie and Jesus, I wasn't as hating on it. It proved pretty terrible in game. And by the way, not every take we have has to be something we saw before the game. We're allowed to watch the game and then go, he got that decision wrong, just because I wasn't hating on it pre-game. It didn't work with Jesus and Eddie in the way it did. You're so right about Reece Nelson. He didn't just, and actually, Turkish didn't just get that contract because it's nice as hell. And I felt he earned it through playing really well last year, which makes me think you believed in him, Arteta. You believed in him to win us the game against Bournemouth. You believed in him to turn it around against Man United only less than a month ago. So why, you're right, our 3 left wingers are out. His best position's on the left wing. Why are you doing this? It reminds me of when he moved Xhaka out of midfield against Brighton and chucked him in at left back when we had the Partey injury. And you're thinking, no, the one thing you shouldn't do, if you've lost a player on the left, don't dismantle another position to try and fix that, especially when you've got a Reece Nelson. He had a shocker there. Havertz, let me tell you one thing about this Havertz sub at halftime. He came on for one reason only. He's 6'3". I'm not even joking. The minute Rice came off injured, I honestly think Arteta thought we need to get some presence in that midfield because it's just Jorginho and Odegaard. Now, in theory, I quite like it, but Havertz and Odegaard played miles away from Jorginho. They didn't protect him at all. He had a shocker on the goal, by that's all his fault. There's nothing tactical about that. And that was just another tactical play that I thought Arteta got so wrong. And El Neni, who hasn't kicked a ball in about 6-7 months, I'm not even joking. I'd have got him in just to congest the midfield a bit because we were being run through the whole time. I think Arteta's
record in North London derbies is quite good as well.
Have you ever seen El Nene do what Jorginho done, Jordan? Have you ever seen El Nene do that?
No. I'm with James. I'm not going to sit here and say the starting 11 came out and I was fuming like Lee was. I wasn't. I was happy with the 11. But where I'm with James is during the game, it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. So that's where I'm with James. I think on the Havertz something. I think he did have a shocker as well. And I believe this goes back to the whole thing we spoke about earlier in the season about just because you're tall doesn't mean you've got presence. Havertz doesn't have presence for me. He's tall, he's 6'4", but he doesn't have presence for me. So for me, if that was the rationale, he's a madman. And just finally, going back to your question, Turkish, about why did he give the contract to Reece Nelson? It's a fair question. I'm more interested in why did you keep Smith Rowe? Because you've got a £40 million asset there you could have sold in the summer. If you had no plans to play him, there's something going wrong there. Something clearly is going wrong there between Arteta and Smith Rowe. Clearly. Last year was fitness issues. This year, from what I'm hearing behind the scenes, his fitness is up to scratch. So something's going wrong there. So why did you keep Smith Rowe when you could have just sold Smith Rowe and got 40 mil? That's what I'm more confused about, because Smith Rowe's an asset.
I don't know if you see it watching it on the TV. I don't know. But for 5 minutes of that game, I think Saka was walking about injured.
Yeah.
And he still didn't bring him on. He still did not get him off straight away. Like, you know what I mean?
Something's going wrong there.
Delayed and delayed. And in the end, Saka's going, get me off. I'll do your job now. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to say, like, it was pathetic today, what I see today. Like, you know, you made a great point there about the contract. I think it's fantastic. Why give it to him? Smith Rowe as well. Like, but what I'm going to say is, you're going to get this. Why are you doing that? And I'm sitting here and waiting, and then like someone like I don't want to keep bringing up the goalkeeping thing, but like, I haven't played that bad, and I've been dropped. But here I'm seeing other players continually keep playing, not doing the business, and still getting more and more chances. The Havertz one today, you know, I don't think you can blame him today. I think he's got to be, you know, chucked into. I honestly thought Vieira was injured as well, like, you know what I mean. So, but when you're losing Partey and then you're losing,
maybe he was Vieira, I don't know.
You know, yeah, like you're losing them Rice. It is a real. You're going into your third choice midfield player, like, you know what I mean. And let's be honest about it. You know, I look at Jorginho today, and you know he hasn't had the minutes. He's got caught out, and give them credit, they took that chance. Maddison done exactly the same thing as Jorginho, give it away in an even worse area, and didn't get punished. That is not Mikel's fault, and that's not anybody. That is bad. We do not, and I mean this now, we are not ruthless enough in our forward play. We missed too many good chances. You know what I mean? I think Spurs had 3 chances today. 2 of them they scored from. The other one was on target. It was a great save from Raya. We're woeful with some of our chances. We really are, boys.
And so okay. So there's 2 points I want to make here. The actual general play and how it went, because I actually think there were, and no one wants to hear it, but I think there were some positives. We'll go into that in a sec. I do want to say something without this becoming like a post-mortem on everything Arteta's ever done wrong at Arsenal. But is anyone noticing a slightly worrying trend in, like, we kind of give him a lot of credit for how well he buys in the market, recognizing the players we need and all that. But there's something about that midfield area he seems to be getting very wrong, especially in that kind of left 8 area. Now, Fabio Vieira came for 35 million, and we're now, I think, starting to see. I don't actually think he was terrible in the first half. Ineffective, but not terrible. There were worse players on the pitch. But it doesn't look like the answer, not right now. So then you got Thomas Partey, who came in for 45 million as a 6, but has had lots of injury problems. Declan Rice, we're yet to see. Jorginho, he's been fine, poor today. Who else are his options on that left-hand side? Smith Rowe's given a new contract too, but he doesn't look like the option. And then he signed Kai Havertz. He's messed around with that midfield a lot. I'd say the Ødegaard, and I think we all agree Rice will be. I think Ødegaard's been the only legitimate hit of all the midfielders he signed. Let's add Sambi Lokonga, he signed for 22 million. So there's something about that left midfield role or that central midfield kind of more box-to-box role, the supporting cast to Ødegaard and then Partey/Rice, that he's not managed to get right. And I think today, a big part of where the battle was lost was in midfield, because Bissouma and Sarr, we had a good chat, didn't we, before the game, Jordan? You were saying Bissouma's brilliant and we're underrating him. Yeah, I think on today's evidence, you're probably right. But I still don't think he's as good as we slightly allowed him to be. Like, I saw him lose the ball a couple of times when we actually did press them. I just thought our midfield just didn't function as a team. They were miles apart from each other. They weren't combining with the striker, which I've alluded to is partly Eddie's fault. And Arteta just hasn't got that balance in the midfield right, really, since Granit Xhaka left. And we go back to a fan cam Turkish delivered a while ago. I think with Xhaka in this team today, again, I think we probably win that game. I don't think we get overrun in midfield.
I agree with that because I've been saying that, like, you know, it hasn't gone on that position. I've just got to say this because I think it's a fantastic question that I'm not going to mention names, but I put that in my WhatsApp group, right? You know, why? This is a couple of the answers I've got back. Maintaining our sell-on value is why we give Nelson a chance. So we let players leave on a free, and then we criticise when we let them go on a free. So we tie them down for another year. Pathetic answers.
And you know what? It's pathetic fans that give these answers. You know why? Because it's so disingenuous. When fans like myself talk about don't let players go on a free, I mean Alexis Sanchez, I mean Aaron Ramsey, I mean players like Mesut Ozil and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I don't mean fucking Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah.
This is what you're dealing with, Turkish. This is what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? It's just about the team and about, you know, if you don't think Reece Nelson's good enough, you don't carry him, you let him go. That's football. You know what I mean? Oh, so he's actually at the club so we can sell him next year, is it? It's unbelievable.
James, do you remember when we re-signed Nelson and I questioned that? I said, I don't get why we're re-signing him when there was many opportunity at the end of last season where Saka needed to be taken out and you didn't trust Reece Nelson to do that. So why give the contract? Now, this is the first real moment where we look at a game and we think, what did we lack? We lacked width, that's for sure. We lacked a bit of pace and direct running, that's for sure. The only one with that profile out of the players we had to pick from is Reece Nelson. I'd argue he's the most direct after Martinelli, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So why give these contracts? Like,
It's and you're a Reece fan.
Exactly.
You like Reece Nelson.
I don't want people to. I like Reece Nelson, and I thought it's best for him to leave in the summer, and best for us because it didn't look like we trust him enough, or Arteta. And for him, he deserves more game time. So if he went to Palace or he went to Brighton or whatever clubs he was linked, I think it would have been better for him. But I remember as well in the summer we spoke, James, and I said this might not be the final form of what Arteta has in here. Last season might not be the final form because ever since he's come in, he's made little changes that resulted in last season. And I thought to myself, this might not be the final form. When he replaces Xhaka, we'll probably see the final form. And that doesn't mean it's going to be a pro. It can be a con. And I can't lie. The word howler was used in fan cam from James. I used the word howler. I don't want to bring it back to him, but that Kai Havertz decision is a howler because it had me saying, I miss Granit Xhaka. And I'm not saying that
Who
literally.
do you put on though today in place of that? Like, I'm trying to be devil's advocate with Arteta because I'm asking you now, who do you put on in place there?
So I think there's two things, and this is really not hindsight. I said it at the time. Going into the game, I said I was tempted by Jorginho sitting so that Rice could almost.
Jorginho's already on, James.
No, I'm talking before the game. So, like, I don't think Vieira was necessarily the answer for this game either. So, I would have let Rice play a more box-to-box role, covering with Jorginho. I think that would have worked best. Okay, then you come to half-time, and Vieira's got to come off. Whatever you're looking at, Havertz. I think Smith Rowe has a little bit more bulkiness. He's a little bit sturdier than Havertz, and I think has looked a bit sharper than him. Otherwise, and I know it's crazy because he's barely kicked a ball. We were getting so overrun in midfield, I would have sat Jorginho and El Neni. And I know that in big 2023, Jorginho and El Neni starting at the base for Arsenal and North London Derby is very uninspiring. But at least you got two sitters who understand somewhat protecting the goal and getting into a shape and looking after each other. And El Neni's got some dynamism and can get stuck in. They might keep it safe. Havertz, he wasn't good. He was actually pretty poor. He wasn't the worst. I thought others were also equally as bad, but he just didn't have any impact. Like, I don't understand what he came on the pitch to try and do. Was he there to try and create? Was he trying to get on the end of things? So I didn't see him get forward. Was he meant to protect Jorginho? Because I didn't see that. I think the best thing he did again was win headers. This guy's a striker. He's a target man. I'm not saying he's a good one.
Yeah, no.
but I think that's the only thing he's consistently done well since he arrived at Arsenal. Get on the end of long balls. He actually did well today.
I was very, very loud. That's a bit stretch. I was very vocal in trying to rationale the logic behind signing Kai Havertz and why I thought he should have persisted in this team. But I'm not ignorant, and I'm happy to kind of call out when I'm right. It's looking like a howler. I think that's the word. I'm not giving up on Kai Havertz just yet. His confidence is on the floor, but it's the basics. I think James mentioned it a few weeks ago, a few pods back. Just give me the basics. Just give me. I'm not expecting you to score a screamer. I'm not expecting you to get an assist. I'm expecting just basics. Just keep the ball. Just a bit of tempo, a bit of intensity. And that was I didn't get any of that today. So I think the Kai Havertz thing is looking like it's going to be a howler come the end of the season. But let's see how that plays out. I think on the game generally, because I don't know if we're going to get to Raya, but on the game generally, I thought a draw was a fair result. Yeah. I thought Arsenal did some good things in the first half without being. I said at 1-0 when we were 1-0 up. I was at work today covering the game. I said to my colleague, "Kill the game. Get the second and kill the game." Because at 2-0, this is a good Spurs side. They could have pulled back 2 goals. They could have. But I think if we go 2-0 up at half time, I think then we have a bit of fun. And we try and either get the third and make it a bit embarrassing, or we go into control mode. And you know what? We're going to just jab. Just keep you at arm's length and we'll see how a 2-0 win. You don't get... This Tottenham team is a good team now. They're not as good as I think people make them out to be, but they're significantly better than when they comes to Emirates normally. You need that second goal. And when they scored their equaliser, which, by the way, defensively, oh my God, 3 of them. I was calling out the Rashford goal, the Emirates, a few weeks ago because there were 3 players that didn't deal with the Rashford strike. I was fuming then. Same again. There's 3 players on Son. It's a great finish, by the way. From Spurs' point of view, it's the first goal. It's a great finish. But from a defensive point of view, there's 3 players there. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing, that goal. It's such a bad goal to concede. And it's more dirty sheets. Why can't we keep clean sheets at the Emirates? What's going on here? This, for me, is where I'm looking at Arteta now. Because this isn't a run of games. This is a problem. Why can't we keep clean sheets at the Emirates?
This is where
I think we all in our predictions... Go on, sorry. Go on, sir.
I don't know if you see that guy. Again, I've not watched you on TV. Don't show you. They all give up. They all think the ball's going out. They all stop. You have a look and they all stop. That's Declan Rice, right? Who's an experienced quality midfield player. I think it's Ben White and Saliba. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. Is it Ben White and Saliba? Yeah. You know, they're all top players. They switch off and we get done by it. And what was really more annoying about that was, and you can forget, about the Kai Havertz, we can go back to that in a minute, we're 1-0 up with 3 minutes to go to half time. What do? You see it out. You see it out to half time and then go from there. Get to half time. And we do not defend properly. We made they carve us open with a good save from Raya. Then the actual goal was a shambles of a goal. You know what I mean? I don't know what Raya was doing for a start. And then from then on, it's shocking. It's shocking from Saka. But realistically, you know what I mean? Like we just switch off. We switch off at times. And that's, I'm not blaming Arteta for that. You can blame it, but it continually keeps happening. It's been happening for a year and a half now. And all the analyses, all the computers, all the people they've got there, they've still not been able to resolve this.
Can I go into sort of like one positive and negative that I kind of just want to cover in this game? Because Jordan mentioned then that first half we did some good stuff. And I do think, for the sake of being balanced on the pod, I do want to cover that. There was a point in that game, the first 10 minutes, I thought Tottenham had most of the ball and they were just kind of feeling their way into the game. And I actually thought at that point, Arsenal's plan became quite clear. They actually weren't looking to, retain possession 80% and play their football. They were winning the ball quite high up the pitch against Spurs and having some moments in transition. There are a few openings. You look at when Eddie got the ball with his back to goal and for some reason turned back into traffic and lost it. Vieira did a very similar thing. There were kind of just moments where you were like, the space is there, go. And they just kind of got it wrong. That Jesus chance really should have put us 2-0 up. And I think there are other moments like, Jesus actually forces a good save out of Vicario. Eddie, with that shot at the near post, could he cut it back to Vieira? I'm not sure. I've seen some moments where it looks like he could maybe. So I actually think for all the kind of disappointment, and yes, it's right to say that a draw was fair, I think Arsenal could have been 2, maybe 3-0 up, sort of before Tottenham get their first goal and before Tottenham started looking really dangerous. But I want to touch on one negative, and again, I've written it in my notes here. I felt Arsenal today. It's very rare I do a show reading off notes, but sometimes when it's a game this big, you got to resort to all this. I thought Arsenal today, and I'd love to know your thoughts. We are the team that challenged for the title last year. We are the team that I think has the more experienced players with Jorginho in there and Rice and whatever. I thought we looked like the amateurs on the pitch today. Like, I thought if you're talking men against boys, I thought we looked the boys in the way we kind of managed. Sorry, my internet's going a bit. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you all good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got.
I thought we looked like the boys in this battle. I just thought everything was far too emotional, far too just like we just didn't handle the occasion right. From Arteta, once again, extremely animated on the touchline. I'm not saying necessarily did anything wrong, but he was. In the opposite dugout, Postecoglou, calm as you like. From Arsenal, giving the ball away and just looking very sloppy and lacking in ideas, to Tottenham doing rondos around us that you wouldn't believe, to the amount of yellow cards. Martin Odegaard couldn't press properly after his yellow card in the 20th minute or whatever.
Shocking.
He couldn't press. Why did he get that yellow for dissent or something?
James.
Sorry?
He was guaranteed getting a booking, the fella. Why is he telling him the ref to book him? It was a guarantee. He was 100% going to give him a booking.
It was stupid from our captain. Yeah. Lack of professionalism there. Eddie Nketiah. I think Eddie's lucky to not get a red, because he's actually caught him both legs around Vicario. I think Vicario's left his leg there to get fouled.
Leg break. It could have been a leg break.
Should have been a red.
It was bad. So it could have been a red, right? So wild yellow cards. I'm seeing huddles at half time when you've just been in the changing room. What's all this performative? Let's all get in a huddle and sort of
shall I be honest? Because we
just strolled out ready for the second half. And sorry, just one last thing. And I've mentioned it a few times. People are going to think I'm a hater. And let me just caveat by saying Bukayo Saka got the deflected goal, scored a brilliant penalty in a pressurized moment, fair play, created the chance for Jesus against Vicario, and had the shot saved by Vicario that nearly crawled in at the end. So Saka did his part going forward. Don't get me wrong. Had a very good battle with Udogie. But I just felt all this sort of the celebrations and everything, it just all felt so amateurish. I was watching Arsenal you lot just aren't handling this occasion well, from the clowning with the dart and then the kind of conceding a minute later. Pathetic. And then the shit. It's just you all just
nailed it, James.
So amateurish today. And I'm so disappointed. Totally we should have looked like the team that could handle the occasion. And Tottenham, I thought, handled it so much better.
Can I just say, I don't know if you see it, and this is where I'm looking at their manager, and I'm thinking, as much as I don't like you because you're a Spurs manager, he played his perfect game. I don't know if you see it, but the huddle they went all the way over to where their Spurs fans were, right in the corner, and done a huddle just before the game kicked off, made Arsenal wait. Don't know if you see that.
No, I didn't see that.
So they, we had the huddle before the game and all that. They all went over to by the corner flag, by the Spurs. I've never seen it before, and they all had a huddle. What that's basically telling you, everybody, we're all in it together. You played the perfect game. Silly little things like throwing darts and all that, I don't mind it when he done it with the Rashford thing, because Rashford went, like Song did, come in front of our fans and give it, you know what I mean? I think that sometimes you can do that, but I'm so right on all that. We just wasn't at it today. And the manager has to take a lot of the. And one thing I've got to go back to, guys, you know what I mean? If you've got to make 2 substitutions at half time, if they're forced on you, but one, why did he have to make 2? You know what I mean? If Declan Rice has gone down, you keep Vieira on for at least 10 minutes or so. I can't believe it. I'm baffled that he turned around and said it was tactical. I think by saying it, I'm pulling my hair out. I think I've done. But let's.
I'm with you, James.
Professionalism.
No, I agree with every word you said. It didn't feel like I always bang on about control. And the reason why I think I was in the minority of the Arsenal fan base that loved the Everton game was it was only 1-0, but it was a game where from minute 1 to minute 94, we had our foot on their neck. And we missed a few chances we should have scored, but at no point in that game, did I think Everton were going to score. We controlled the game. We had possession today. We didn't have control. And I think that the celebration of the darts thing, I don't have a problem with per se, but go and win the game. Go and win the game. If you're going to do all that nonsense, go and win the game. And if you don't win the game, you just look like amateurs. It's important to say also that Arteta's record in the North London derby, generally, as far as I'm aware, is actually quite good. So he does normally get it right in these North London derbies. But he's up against a young, innovative. Yeah, I think even away, he's won one, drawn one, lost a couple. But I could be wrong. But overall, his record, I think, against Spurs isn't too bad. And the mere fact that I think Spurs had 3 candidates for man of the match, in my opinion, and we had only 1, we were lucky to get a red card. The penalty, I think, is a penalty, but it's lucky. And the reason why I say it's lucky is because that exact same incident can happen next weekend, and I would put my house on it not being given as a penalty. So I think it's a penalty. I think it is a penalty, but
it's a goal.
I think it's lucky in that. Sorry?
If you don't handball, it's a goal.
Mm-hmm. No, but the point I think it's a penalty. But the point I'm making is I think it's lucky in the sense that next week, if that exact same thing happens, I don't have any faith that it's given. So we got the right ref on the right day. So I'm just making the point that things went for us, and I still don't think we capitalised on it. I agree with James.
Romero with a Van Persie finish as well. You know that does favour Turkish. I know you wanted to come in there because I think the amateurish point resonated with you somewhat.
Yeah. You was on the watch along when we came out and did that huddle. You know what I thought about it. It's all performative. When Raya made that save and Ramsdale did the clapping, it's performative. And why? I think you asked. Because us fans lap it up. And I say us fans because I'm an Arsenal fan. And so are the people lapping it up. But come on, like part of raising the standards is not making a meal out of our club doing a huddle. How many times did we do huddles last year? And you'll have some twat off Twitter making a compilation of it saying Lions or Boys to Men or these men are ready now. They got the hunger, and you'll get some fucking Braveheart music over it, and then and then James, how many times last season did Odegaard and other players turn to the fans in the stadium? Come on, another one. Always... You'll get a twat on Twitter editing all of this. Look at the hunger in his eyes. All of these things are you think giving the number 14 shirt to Eddie isn't performative, or the number 10 to Emil Smith-Rowe isn't performative? It's all performative. Like this dog that's in our fucking club picture. Win. You think I give a shit about a dog?
Nah.
But then you'll have so many fans online and so many fans taking, it's cute. Win. It's, look at them bringing the dog into the picture.
What you got against dogs, Turkish? What you got against dogs?
What I've got.
He told me he's a cat person, to be fair.
You brought a fucking lion in. That's what they should have brought in.
But am I lying though? Why do we lap it up like that? Why is a dog in the team photo such big news online? Why?
No, so I think there's 2 things here, which is some of these kind of things Arteta's trying to do, I don't have a problem with, but I also agree with you that it's like, why is it considered some massive deal? Like you're right, it's somewhat lapped up, but like I don't think having a dog at the training ground's a bad idea. Like, cool, whatever.
Have the dog. Don't be doing it stories about him and videos about him like he's a part of the fucking starting 11. Just have him run around the place. Have him run around the place. Pet him a little bit. Don't make a movie out of the dog. Just have him there.
That dog's a star. Put some respect on the dog's name, Turkish.
Do you know one point today which I've got?
Wynn's getting a batter in it.
Wynn doesn't deserve that, man.
No, he doesn't. Wynn doesn't deserve that. You know, Wynn,
I'll leave this podcast. Don't say Wynn and don't start referencing this dog on this podcast.
You know when the players give it all that.
They got a new dog with points shared coming. Bloody
you know when the players give it all of that, right? Seriously now, you know when all the players give it all that and they get a response.
Goals conceded. Sorry.
Mikel Arteta done that today. Mikel Arteta done that today, and he did not get a response.
What did he do?
He went to the crowd like up like that to get a response from the crowd, but he didn't get it.
So I got wound
time I
up
said that,
by
mate.
No,
I
didn't even see that.
got wound up by a game very recently. It might have been Fulham, I can't remember. And I mentioned on this podcast where players sort of do this.
Mm.
And I want it's so I want to be careful I say this, yeah, because I'm not. We didn't even lose. It's one draw against Tottenham. In what's 4 wins out of 6, 2 draws. It's not a nightmare. Our season can still go on to achieve great things. I fully believe that. So I don't want to go over the top, but I think players sometimes need to read the room a little bit. Like the crowd, what the crowd needs sometimes is just like, how do I explain it? It's just work hard and do your basics. And
Yeah,
it's
we're
when you're
calling
making
for it today,
stupid
James.
mistakes
Great
and we
point.
don't understand and we're looking and going, what's going on? And then you're telling us to get up for it. We're like, but we are up for it. You're not up for it. And that's where I think we struggle. It's like, what?
Fans didn't fall for it today, James.
We can hear
They
the
didn't
Emirates from the studio.
They didn't fall from it today. I think the Emirates. Do you know when we was in before the game, we were saying we could hear it and all that. Like the atmosphere was poor for a North London derby today. All right.
Really?
Yeah, it looked it.
For the first time ever, can I remember that was the worst it's been on it. Do you know why? Because of the performance. That there was something not there, and the fans were, I think, feeling a little bit like me, feeling a little bit down about it and all that. Like so, when he comes up and says, "Come on, all that," like I felt like saying to him, "Well, you should have done that, in your team talk or something like that." You let me down today. You as a manager, you as a players let me down today. Like, I don't want you going like that to me today. It was the wrong. Even he didn't read the room, James. So if you've got the players not reading it and not the manager, like it fell on deaf ears today.
Can I?
Go on, John.
Can I just go back to Turkish's point about standards as well? Because I remember watching a lot of videos ahead of the draw for the Champions League group stages.
That's the best thing he said that. Like,
I didn't know if I'd frozen.
Yeah. Do you know one of the worst things? I don't know about just going back to the Emirates as well. Like, Jordan made a great point earlier on. We control away games. We do control away games. Like,
we're much better away from home.
We do not. We do not control home games. We're never in control on a home game. At 1-0 up today. Like if that was last week, we just controlled it and see it out. But today, we went in panic stations for some unknown reason for about 10 minutes at the end there. We just don't control games as well as what we should do at home. I feel exhausted coming out of a home game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the first time I haven't felt like that was on Wednesday. But every other game, I've come out there. You know what I mean, like the Fulham game, Nottingham Forest, the Man United game. We've not been in control of those games at all.
Sorry, Jordan, we lost you.
Sorry, my internet was basically shut the hell up.
Have you?
Shut up. I was just making the point that ahead of the Champions League group stages, a lot of people were talking about wanting to avoid this big team and avoid that big team, and I thought it was quite embarrassing. And in a similar way, yesterday I heard a lot of Arsenal fans talking about, Rodri suspended now for the Arsenal game, getting really excited about that. And I thought to myself, so you want to tiptoe to a Champions League final, and you want to tiptoe to a Premier League title? I think this sort of stuff is really boring. Look, would I rather play Man City without Rodri? Yes, but the last 24 hours has been about, we could. If you're going to have that rhetoric as an Arsenal fan, you better go and win the game then, Arsenal, because the idea that they're significantly weaker without Rodri means you should win the game. And I think the mentality amongst the Arsenal fan base that they want to tiptoe around the big teams to a Champions League final and they want to tiptoe to a Premier League run-in, I just find a little bit, just a bit loserish, in my opinion. And also, and just finally as well, I think as you mentioned, James, about the fact that it was just, we didn't lose, it was a draw. Bringing it back to the title race, I'm going to go against my own rule here and skip a game ahead, which I hate people do that. So I want to just flag that from early. But we're now kind of in the position whereby if we don't beat Manchester City in 2 weeks' time, assuming we go with the same gap we've got right now, we're in that kind of area now of we can't lose another game. Because 7 points it'll be 7 points then, won't it?
Yep. We've got 3 games if we lose to them. Jordan, we've got 3 games before that. 3 games. We might have been another 4.
No, we've got one
I
Premier
thought
League
it was a
game
game off
before
the
that.
next.
We've got a Carabao Cup, we've got Premier League, and then we've got Champions League.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
talking about Premier League. I'm talking about
Yeah,
Premier League.
but
One
like,
game
some
before
of the
that.
games where we could lose another 2 or 3 players yet. Like, you know what I mean? The way
No,
things
no.
are going, we will.
I'm just making the point that
Yeah.
if we don't get ourselves to sorted quickly and we don't win that game, you're kind of in that territory of you can't lose another game, and it will be what, back end of October,
You don't think
middle of October
Arsenal
by
are going to
then.
win the title, do you? Realistically, they're not winning the title this year. I've seen enough.
I predicted we would. I predicted we would, and
and
I'm not after 4 wins and 2 draws gonna.
Well, I am, because I don't see us improving unless the manager changes his attitude. I really
But then,
don't.
with all due respect, did you predict Arsenal to win the league before the season started?
I thought they had a very good chance, quietly.
But I'm sure you did a predictions or something. Did you say?
I would say Manchester City, but I don't think Manchester City.
So
I don't think Manchester City are going to get as many points as they did last season. Yeah, I'll put that there.
But that's fair. I think, and I'm right in thinking Turkish. You said City.
Yep.
Jordan, did you say City?
I said Arsenal.
Okay.
You did say Arsenal.
So I said Arsenal. I don't think 4 wins and 2 draws in our first 6 is enough to knock me to think that's it. And I know that they play at an exceptional level, City. But let's put it this way: if this is enough for me to change my mind on whether I think Arsenal are going to win the league, then I never really believed Arsenal were going to win the league. So,
what if they beat us, James? What if they beat us in 2 weeks?
Oh, we're fucked. So it's done then.
that was my point. We have to win that game. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise,
sorry to change it back, but I'm really getting pissed off because even afterwards, I see Maddison's interview. Have you all seen Maddison's interview when he's asked?
Yeah, what he said about Saka,
the Saka celebration, and Jordan? Have you seen it?
No.
He turns around and goes,
I've seen it.
Yeah, he was probably still doing the celebration when I spun him for the first goal. And now, listen, I know they're friends, but guess what? That makes it worse. There ain't no time for friends in the North London. There ain't no. How many times do you see a player talk about Man City like this?
But
De Bruyne and Van Dijk are good friends. They're good friends. On the pitch, it's different. You don't. Who came on? Havertz comes on at halftime. He goes to Son, talking under their breath, a little smile, a pat on the back. Jesus in like the last 10 minutes in the box with Romero and Son, smiling, talking to the. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, it goes to my professionalism point that we look like amateurs. We look like we didn't really understand the occasion. And that's a fair point. I think you're right to bring that up because that's not how we played the games in previous years. We played them like we were desperate to batter them.
And do you know what? Another one. That's where Xhaka's been missed. I said like Xhaka was not just missed from his foot. He don't let people mess about with him and all that. Like, you know what I mean? And others as well. Like, I think he's been a big miss for us. You know, I tell you what, teams never took liberties with us. You know what I mean? Like Maddison was going around it. There was times there. I thought, look, before we say it, I thought Maddison was brilliant for them today. But his shithousery at times was, you know what I mean, like getting, you know, like if he winding me up, and he
players up, and
he was just allowed get the way. Don't you dare get near one of my players. Check would have pushed him away. Don't get nowhere near one of my players. Go get yourself away.
James, what did I say to you on the watch along? Exactly the same thing. Stop letting him pick our players up like kids. Stop it.
This is what I mean. We look like the boys in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think
we look like the amateurs, and this is what I mean. And that's you know, and you know the whole dart celebration and what Maddison said. They said that they had banter and they were trash talking each other before, whatever. And I have no doubt that Saka's a good kid who we have praised for his fantastic mentality since coming into this Arsenal team. So what I'm trying to say more is, it's one added thing to the way the whole team and the manager and everyone seemed to approach this game, this kind of lack of maturity, really. And the dart celebration for the first goal, when it took a massive deflection off Romero, well, I didn't love it then. I certainly didn't love it when we went 2-1 up from the penalty and we weren't playing that well. And you'd already been spun by Maddison for their equaliser. I thought, he's done you in game. Like I don't know if this is clever, but I do it's been very cathartic. I feel better for this discussion, just a little bit. I do want to say that I think we could, for all the problems, I think we could have been 2-0 up in this game. And I think we could have won it.
Yeah.
It coulda, woulda, shoulda, sure. But I think the context and the order in which these things happen mattered. And I think we could have been 2, maybe 3-0 up before Tottenham really started playing and started impressing. I do think, it's not excuses, that's why I waited till 55 minutes to mention it. I do think it's so unfortunate having Timber, Partey, Rice for the second half, Martinelli, and Trossard all missing. Because I think all 5 of them play a massive part in this game.
Yeah.
Whether it's off the bench or whether it's tearing apart a pretty open Tottenham team. We talk about matching them for physicality, Sarr and Basuma. Could you find a better midfield pair than Partey and Rice from any other individual squad to go toe to toe with them for physicality? So I think it's disappointing that we didn't have them as well. And lastly, that I still think we look far from our best. We didn't lose. And I want the team not to feel, how do I put it? We need them to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys. Go win the Carabao Cup game. I'm sick of going out of cups early. Go smash up Bournemouth. And then is there a better opportunity for a response than Man City at home? Like,
we've got Brentford forward. So we've got Bournemouth next week.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Go smash Bournemouth. So Brentford, Bournemouth, Lons, 3 away games. I'm quite glad we're away from the Emirates, quite frankly. Get those
I
3
am now.
done.
I'm getting fed up with it.
Get those 3 done. And then Man City is a big opportunity, and they, nothing will wake us up. Nothing will make us forget the North London derby more. And I know that we're saying we haven't won in 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, Premier League games against Man City, and I get that. But I still think they can be got at. I still think when we hit form, we can be good enough, and they got to respond.
I think it's a great point you make about the Emirates, because I can say this now. The feeling that I'm getting around the ground and that the fans are getting fed up. They're getting fed up with conceding goals.
Fed up?
Fed up with conceding goals all the time. There was a half time, like even I heard a couple of fans saying by the side of me going, "I'm fed up." It's not so much them Scottish, that we're not winning the game. I'm more peed off. We can't keep a clean sheet against, we can't defend properly. We can't do this. There was a little bit of groans and all that, and I'm with you on this now. We've got 3 away games now where I think there's the different sort of approach for our defending and all that,
But sorry, just very briefly, I know we've got to move on, but I don't think that is the answer, because it's all well and good saying we got 3 away games 3 away games in a row now.
We're still coming to
we have to address this problem at home.
Yeah, it's got to be addressed.
You know what I mean? So I actually want a home game, because we can't run. We've got to still play all the home games. Do you know what I mean? Ahead of us. So we've got to fix this problem. I just want to. I know it's going to be unpopular, but my final point on the game would be, I just want to give Spurs a bit of credit.
Thank God his internet's gone again.
The Wi-Fi stopped every time.
Clear now.
Perfect timing. No, it was perfect. It was meant to be.
Well done.
I did have a question here regarding the injuries, but because we're nearly touching an hour, and because we've got another podcast coming out this Thursday after the Carabao Cup game with Brentford, I think we're going to be much better placed to talk about a potential injury crisis come Thursday, because we'll know more about Trossard, we'll know more about Martinelli, Rice, Saka, etc. So we'll save that conversation for Thursday, people, and we'll move it straight on to the first of the 3 away games, and that's Brentford in the Carabao Cup. Now, James, you mentioned the need to bounce back. We've also mentioned some of the injuries we have. What do we do with the Carabao Cup now? Because Brentford away is not an easy tie. They've just had a poor result in game week 6 as well. They're going to want to win it. They're going to go strong, presumably. What do we do?
Listen, there's an international break in a few weeks' time. Some of them will obviously go off on that, so that's hard work for some. But I mean, I don't know. If you ask me for an 11 off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure. It's not. I'm not saying anything clever here, but it's just rotate enough to still win the game, but give players the rest they need. Saka, I don't think should be playing. Played too much, picked up another injury or another knock or whatever. Rice, if he's got a back problem, I don't think is going to be ideal. So you don't play him, obviously. You probably bring El Neni back in. Keep giving Vieira minutes. Probably start Havertz up front, just because we need to try we spent 65 million on this guy. I know that we're feeling like we don't get it, but we've got to keep trying at least a little bit longer. Give Nelson some much needed minutes. Bring Tomiyasu into the team and give Ramsdale a start, the poor guy. But I mean,
yeah.
But I want us to go through everyone. I don't want to be pissing away competitions that we're supposedly too good for, when I know we've won 4 FA Cups in the last decade, but we're not littered with trophies here. And I know that 4 FA Cups is impressive. I'm not belittling that. And some people don't put any stock in the Carabao Cup, but a day at Wembley, a trophy, even if it's the smallest of them, I want those occasions, quite frankly. And it doesn't have to. The Carabao Cup isn't always necessarily the most taxing to win, anyway.
Yeah, funnily enough.
To go through.
For the first time in for a very, very long while, I wish I weren't going Wednesday.
Has it got that badly?
It is that bad at the moment. I didn't enjoy today. I'm not enjoying the way we're playing. I'm not enjoying the team selections. I'm not enjoying it at the moment. I'm really.
I don't want to start some massive debate and discussion, but
no. But
I know, and I respect how you feel, and I know it's more driven by performances than results, and I do respect and understand that. But we can't. Our heads as a fan base and as a club can't go down this easily.
No,
I know we're disappointed.
John, I just want to see us doing things right as a club, as a manager. I want to see him doing it right, and I mean this saying that the Ramsdale Raya thing has got me right. But I'll tell you another thing that's got me today. Vieira, he'd be sitting on the dressing room. He'd go home today. Oh, got drops out, got taken out of the team today. Yeah. Well, he didn't play well. Yeah, but nor did Eddie, and he played 100 minutes, but nor did so, but they still played. I want to see things being done properly and fairly. I don't see that at this moment in time. And that's what I see it last season. I see everybody playing well. I think at the end of the day, and it's still a big problem for me, this keeping a big squad happy and everything like that, I think the manager's struggling with at the moment, and it's not boding well. And I'm not enjoying watching Arsenal play at the moment, for not because it's not always about winning. Obviously, I want to see us winning, but it's also about enjoying it. I'm not enjoying what I'm seeing at the moment. He
hasn't played in 6 Premier League games. He's never played the same 11 back to back, has he?
No.
Because even earlier in the season, it went Timber, Tomiyasu, Kivior, didn't it? A left back who's messing around with that. So
I think in this game, everybody starts for me apart from Saka and Odegaard. I'd go strong. So I'd go Saliba, Gabriel. I'd go strong.
I even want to see Cedric. You know what I mean? I'm going to go Wednesday night, and I want to see Cedric. That's how bad it's getting now.
But hang on. You guys all bang on about take the cup seriously. Why can't we? If we got to play our way back into form, we got to try and win the game. Brentford are not shit. Brentford are a good team. You can't say you will take the cup seriously and then you've got a couple of injuries. No.
I'd like to think that we would. I like to think that with Ramsdale, Cedric, Tomiyasu,
Kivior,
and one central defender, whether it be Ben White, one of them's got to play because we haven't got anybody else.
Give Ben White a rest as well. White looked exhausted today.
Yeah,
I'd play him. I'd go strong because if we lose that game,
he's not got international football, so I'll put Ben White in there. Midfield of Jorginho. Who else would you play in there? Jorginho. I'd still play Havertz and Vieira. That's good enough.
And you think that team beats Brentford?
Smith Rowe, Nelson, and Eddie up front.
And you think that team beats Brentford?
Well, that's the forwards we started with today, and Arteta finished with today, and Arteta thinks he can beat Spurs. No.
I'm going strong. Everyone bar Saka's playing for me. Everyone bar Saka.
Jordan, let's say we beat Brentford 3-0 and Saliba gets an injury that leaves him out for 3 months. Are you really taking that? I'm not.
Turkish. Turkish injuries can happen at any point on or off the field. It's a big risk. I accept that. But what's the point of having a big squad if you're not gonna trust that when your main guys get injured, the others can do the job?
Players missing. We can't afford to have 6, 7, 8.
All right, then if we lose, then we're going to the Bournemouth game with 2. But then if you lose that game, then you start a run of poor form. And then you guys will be the first one saying, this is going to Man City game. We've not won a game in 4 games. We get beat at City 5 games. You can't have it both ways. You want to win cups.
I don't care about the Carabao Cup, I'll be honest, man. I don't give a shit.
I do. I still want us to win it, but I'm not risking Declan Rice in this game. Even if he's got a back spasm and he says he's fully fit, you've got to...
No. So when I say go strong, I'm saying with the players that were injured today, without them. So I'm assuming Rice.
Do you want Jesus playing? Do you want Jesus?
Yeah, I do.
No way.
Yeah, I do.
No way. Jesus.
Yeah, I do. Win the game.
Jesus.
I want to win the game.
Jesus, Saka, Saliba, and Ben White don't even come on the.
We've got a game Saturday. Don't forget, we've got a game against Bournemouth 3 days after this game.
Yeah, 3 days after.
No,
I expect heavy rotation, and I expect we're at a point now where and someone asked me, no, someone didn't ask me. We done a fan zone the other day, and the question wasn't what do you prioritize. The question was what would you take, Premier League or Champions League? That's not my point here. My point is there's no more prioritizing. If you bring out a rotated side 4 years in, with the amount of money we spent, I expect them to be competitive. I expect them to be competitive. And
but Turkish. I'm asking. They're true, but I'm asking you here now. Do you honestly think that Cedric at right back is going to be good enough to get us a win?
Hey, why didn't you? Yeah, but Jordan, I don't. But why didn't you sell him? Why didn't you sell these man?
I agree. But let's deal with what we have right now. You're saying put in the bench players, and I'm saying those guys ain't gonna beat Brentford. They're not beat. So if we're saying that's fine, that's cool. But then we can't say we want to win the cups. The whole thing at the start of the season was we've got to take the cup seriously this season. And now we're saying because we've got a few injuries, no, come out the cups.
I'm not saying come out the cups.
But you kind of by playing Cedric, you kind of are.
No, but I've never. You see the Carabao Cup. I know Arsenal have history in it, and I get that. Me, I grew up on Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson rotating the whole 11, and that's what I grew up on. That's why I don't care for it too much. I don't give a shit. You think if we come out of this season with a Carabao Cup and that's it, I'm gonna be happy? No.
But I think if we end the season with no trophies at all versus finishing second in a Carabao Cup. We'd all take that.
A second.
We'd all take that.
Second.
So if we're going to be a big club, if we're going to be
they're both not good enough.
You don't care.
They're both not good enough. Second, if you add a Carabao Cup to it, it doesn't make the second any better. It's a Carabao Cup. I mean, but listen, let's keep it moving because we are over time now, and we still got predictions to make. The prediction table hasn't changed. We all predicted Arsenal wins, and obviously we drew the game 2-2.
Many of people not happy with even in the production today, like, you know what I mean, slagging off James, love it. You know what I mean, and you, Jordan. You know what I mean. It was production staff come up to me.
Saying what?
I can't believe that you let him get away with a 3-point deduction. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Production.
Can I tell? Actually, before we make, can I tell the people now? Yeah, can you imagine that? Forget James for a sec, because James negotiation top tier. We shook hands, men. Lee hasn't even paid me for my win last year. Lee hasn't paid me for my win last year.
You lost me money by not doing one pod one time, like, you know what I mean. And I had to lose my attendance fee, and for that, is the reason why you're not getting your money at this moment in time.
We're 5 days away from October, and a fee that was due in May is yet to enter my bank account. But we have people here leading a 7-point deduction charge.
Well, if no one's paying, can I get a refund?
No, they're paying. They're paying.
just ask. You know what I mean?
Jordan, don't drag yourself down to his standards.
Just saying.
That's the best statement ever out. Yeah,
I don't care either way. I just want fairness.
That one, I'll tell you that. Fantastic.
Lee's paying, don't worry, man. And James said if I make 5 shows on time, he'll pay. So don't worry. This is
You've got to get through certain bonuses yet to get your shirt. Like
certain bonuses. Give me my money. That's due in May.
The worst thing is, I thought I was the last one to pay.
No,
I thought
James are refusing to pay at this moment in time. Like, you know what I mean? Disgusting. We see a bit of a attendance record from Turkish. That's fair enough. Isn't that right, James?
Well, you some head teacher
or behind my back if you paid him now, like, because that's the sort of bloke you are, like. You know what I mean?
I got my Community Shield point, so.
That's it.
All I need.
You didn't hear about
the money's on its way. You're such a snake.
You didn't hear about the new tag team, Shamish and Shames. That's me and James, mate. Yeah, that's our new name, Shamish and Shames.
Yeah, yeah. Sneaky, shameless, and shameless. That's what I'm saying. Right,
predictions. Actually, before predictions, audio listeners, like I said, the table hasn't changed. There's been 7 games played, 7 predictions made. I'm top on 7 points. Jordan's in second on 7 points. Only correct scores separate us. James is in third on 6. Lee's bottom on 5. So it's 2 points separating bottom from top. So it's still very much all to play for. After my 3-point deduction keeps it all, competitive. Now it's predictions. Brentford away, Carabao Cup. They've had a poor result. I expect changes. This could be a sticky one. Wait, okay. For this one, are we doing what we done for James in the Community Shield? Because
I think
go on.
Yeah.
No, you got to get the result right. If you think it's a draw and penalties, then you say.
Fine. We agree on that now.
We've agreed on that now. Like, let him have his poxy point for Christ's sake, like, but it don't happen again, right? If you expect to win, you have to say yes, a draw and a win on penalties, and that gets you the correct score.
Okay. I'm going for 2-1 Brentford. 2-1 Brentford. Jordan?
Oh, I'm going. Yeah, same actually. 2-1 Brentford.
2-1 Brentford. James?
So do I have to? I think it's going to penalties. Do I have to specify?
No, that means you're predicting a draw. So what's your draw prediction?
I'm predicting a draw. I'm going 2-2.
I was tempted with 2-2. Lee, you seem like you wanted that.
Why do I think we're scoring?
Hold on, so we're going 2-2. So like the penalties don't matter then. Like.
So who wins? Who wins it? Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, 2-2 is just a draw.
Okay.
For what it's worth, I'm not feeling good about it.
So you're not going to go 2-2 penalties Arsenal or 2-2 Brentford penalties. You got to go one.
Apparently, I don't have to pick a winner.
No, 2-2. If it's a 1-1 draw, he gets 1 point. If it's a 2-2 draw, he gets 3 points. Doesn't need to.
Okay. Is that how we're doing it? Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 2-1 the Arsenal then.
2-1 Arsenal. Cool.
I really hope we go through. I do. Stop messing around these cup competitions.
It'd be nice. Just to round off the predictions, me and Jordan have gone 2-1 Brentford. James has gone 2-2, and Lee has gone 2-1 to the Arsenal. So aside from me and Jordan, we've all gone for different scores. So there will be some change in the table, I'm sure, come Thursday. And just a reminder, we are back on Thursday, people, after the Brentford game, before the Bournemouth game. That Bournemouth game has taken on an extra bit of importance after our drop points against Tottenham. We must win heading into that Man City game. But like I said, we'll be back before that one. Let's move on to comments of the day. But before we move on to comments of the day, I have not reminded anyone to hit the like button. So I'm hoping we've hit 1,000 without having to remind people. But if we haven't, now's the time. Scroll down, hit the like button. We always hit 1,000 on this show. Now, we usually hit it nice and early with a reminder. Without a reminder, maybe we haven't hit it yet. But we should hit it now. You're watching it. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Because comments of the day. We're taking it very serious now. I had a word with the panel. I said it's not acceptable. Whether I'm here or not, comment of the day must stand the people.
Whether they're crap or not, you got to bring a comment of the day.
Can I start? Because this one's about me, and it's not one like last week. I'm gonna start with name. So that's his.
I've got this one as well. Carry on.
This sounds good. Name says Turkish is so lucky Arteta doesn't run AFTV. By now he would have signed another presenter called Spanish for depth in order to improve his timekeeping. What a comment! I can't even lie. What a comment!
Yeah, that was mine, guys.
It's a great comment.
Backups, but well done.
No backup, James. No, that was it.
No, that was. I thought it was genius.
It was. It was. I can't even lie. There was a lot of good comments. I can't even lie.
But also that super chat saying that Arteta will get competition for win as well in the live the other day.
Oh yeah.
That was genius.
Yeah, that was good. That was funny.
That was absolute genius.
And then someone went on Twitter and then said, "Oh, I've just heard it," and then it just blew up. The whole tweet blew up.
Yeah,
quality.
Go on, where's your comment of the day?
I've got one here from Red3. She says, "Okay, this may be my favorite episode so far. Dope new intro. Turkish finessing his way into his preferred punishment. Lee totally unhinged. Jordan being Jordan. That's a good thing or a bad thing. James being adorable and taking his community shield points. A flood of free Turkish super chats, all ending with Turkish, shamelessly reading pro-Turkish comments from the show he missed. You could not script a funnier series of events. It's all made better by how much you all seem to be enjoying yourselves. Oh shit, my laptop just died. Anyway, I thought that was a nice. Hang on, laptop died. Thanks as always for the great content. There was another comment I saw as well that just said, where is it?
Sort your Wi-Fi out.
Shut up. It was Shawana Banks. I would pay good money for this content. It's like my favorite series, and I can't wait for the next episode. Keep up the good work. So, if that person's going to pay, should I go to me, Lee, and James? Should I go direct to
who's paying?
This person said she or he would pay for the content.
James,
pay good money.
Have you clocked who these two are? Red. Red is we met Red in Washington and then New Jersey. You remember in the street she stopped me? I've got something for you. And then she gave me the little
Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys met
her?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's funny how he knows that. Funny how he knows that, isn't he? Like, you know,
and what was the other name, Jordan? Shawana Banks. Yeah.
Shawana Banks, yeah.
You met her as well.
The name,
yeah.
100%. She did.
This is why I'm the people's chat, man. Man hears usernames, and I just think, bang! I know her from LA. I know her from New York. This is why the
bloody
people
beard, isn't it? Bloody beard, like. Shameless, isn't it?
Big up Red and big up Shawana, man. Big up.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Love you guys. Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself, Lee. Don't hurt yourself.
I've gone for real, Jim. 78. Been watching this show from its debut on AFTV and have to say it's easily the best, funniest episode yet. Had it in my pocket while I was working and constantly had to keep taking it out of my pocket to get the visuals of the judges' explosive rallying cries and blackmailing the chat. Love the show, boys, all the way from Australia. You know,
come on.
There was a lot of comments from Australia. There's a lot of people from Australia commenting.
A lot of people from Australia there today, like, and everyone, and they're all asking. I was sort of saying, you ain't here to watch that. They're their manager. Oh, no, we don't like him. But even though we do like him.
Oh, hang on. I'm just scrolling here. Sorry. Arnold Paul, 5639. Jordan was definitely at the game in corporate. I saw him and shouted him to tell him how much I love the podcast. And he came and said, hi. Who says never meet your heroes? Arnold. See? You see? I was there.
See what?
Albeit in corporate.
Can I say, I haven't seen these comments. Jordan, I haven't seen these comments, but I have been reliably told that apparently someone in the comments has requested time codes for when you're talking so they can avoid that particular part.
James, that's every week. That's every week someone puts in, I've just got to put, I fast forward when Jordan starts talking. That's every week. That's old.
How are they requesting time codes? Like it's going to say intro, 1 minute to 3 minutes, not Jordan. 3 minutes to 4:30, Jordan. Like, what are they expecting us to do?
Jordan interrupts.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's old.
we've got the comments of the day in. Big up Jordan, big up Lee, big up James, and most importantly, big up you guys and girls out there. You make the show what it is. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, put the notification bell on. We will be back Thursday, but there's a lot of good content coming out over the next few days. James's tactical insights coming out. You heard a little taster of what to expect from it. James, if you get some time before tactical, look up the Ben White overlapping stats, because I don't know why I'm not seeing him overlap as much as I did last season, but maybe it's just me. But yeah, tactical insight, by a show. Then we've got Carabao Cup previews and whatnot. Then it's Bournemouth. Then it's the champion, thick and fast. The content is coming out thick and fast, people. Hit the like button. Love for the love. Jordan, what the hell do you want?
I just found one more comment. Jordan in brackets for once is 100% right about Ramsdale.